Hi, welcome to my channel, Carmeldvine. My name is Dvine. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And I want to start this off by saying, if you did click on this video, it was for a reason. God, the Most High Divine, needed you to hear a message today, and I'm here as your divine messenger to relate that message to you directly. Okay? So, first of all, Happy New Year. I know it's late in the month, and things just kind of got started, but Happy New Year. I thought what was going to be this first video that I was going to post for this new year, and I feel like what better way to bring it in with this this very controversial topic that's been lingering around in the spiritual community for a little bit right now, and honestly has definitely been a little bit of an obstacle or something that I have experienced within my own spiritual journey, which is something I feel like was very important that I shared on this channel, and I feel like I want to bring the most genuine, the most authentic energy into whatever I'm doing, just because I felt like before I really wasn't being true to who I was, and I was actually trying to be something I was not, and we'll get into that. But before I get into this video, I want to give a disclaimer, a huge disclaimer. I am not in any way trying to offend anyone in their belief system. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's religion or belief system in any kind of way. I am simply just giving information and just describing my actual experience with spirituality and what I went through with this specific topic. As you can see from the title, New Age to Jesus Christ, and New Age supposedly actually being Satanism. So let's get into it, okay? I have a few notes here, somewhere. They're over there. They're over there. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have a few notes here. First of all, I wanted to point out some of what I saw in these specific videos that I saw that were titled The Same Thing, New Age to Jesus. The first time I saw one, I was going through YouTube, of course, like I usually am, and I was scrolling through and I just saw New Age to Jesus, and this girl looked like she was gonna cry. And I watched it, and I started to feel kind of guilty, and I was gonna lie, like almost instantly. Also, another time that I watched one, this girl, she broke down all of the facts, literally had all of the information about spirituality and how it was connected to Satanism, and how Satan is using spirituality to control the minds of people and tricking us and all this stuff. And when this came up, this actually moved me in a way that made me go back on my spirituality, or switch back, or kind of start feeling worried and guilty that maybe, oh no, like, oh, if she felt this way, then maybe I am tripping, maybe I am doing something evil. And I even mentioned this in my very first video, coming out the broom closet. If you didn't watch that video, go watch it, because I really actually already mentioned how I was questioning myself and questioning my spirituality in this video. And after that was like a good 2 or 3 more times that I've actually had these experiences where I felt like I needed to go back to my original religion or my original beliefs, which was Christianity. Mind you, in all of these videos that I've seen, and like I said, I am not in any way trying to offend anybody or belittle anybody's trauma or trying to shut anybody else's voice up, because this is not what I'm here to do. I'm just here simply to show my experiences and tell you how I feel about certain things, to maybe give you some type of leverage on how you might feel about this. At the end of the day, it don't matter to me. I mean, your choice. But regardless, in all of these videos, I seen the similarities, and I seen how all of these people were really just like me, of course. And I've seen a few spiritual videos on it too, on how people was like, oh, it's a bunch of bullshit, and it's like strategic, and people are doing this to keep you in confinement, which I mean, I'll touch on that and how I feel about that too. So I had this time where I was really battling myself, and I was battling my shadow. I was battling who I truly was, my ego I was battling my flesh with my spirit, however you want to put it. I was going through the works, and it really did stifle me. It did close my spirit up just a little bit, just because I didn't know. I was at a point where I did not know. So when I watched these videos, and more and more I seen these videos, and the more and more I would go back, and then my spirit just wouldn't fully take me back to these original ways. And so I would feel stuck. But like I was saying, these similarities between these videos specifically, I want to list. One thing that I noticed was all of these people that were talking, most of them, I'm not going to say all of them, because most of them came from Christian backgrounds. I saw a girl that came from like a Buddhist background, where she was like, she was Asian, and she was like a Buddhist. I seen some people go, you know, just straight from spirituality, maybe raised that way, to Christianity. Either way it goes, most of them came from a certain belief. And Christianity being one of the main beliefs in the world, one of the most popular beliefs in the world, the belief that I traditionally came up in. This is why I'm speaking on Christianity, okay? So they all actually felt like they were the only ones who had these gifts. When they came into spirituality, they were very eager, and they saw these things, and they actually felt like they were the only one hearing their own thoughts. And it was kind of interesting to me, watching these videos. It's like, you really think that you are the only person that can hear your own thoughts? Like, everybody knows how to read in their head. I mean, that's you in your head. That's you hearing your thoughts. But I was just like, okay, I'll just let that slide. Some people just aren't aware. So also another thing, all of these videos came out at the same time, around the same time. And also, back in my first video, I mentioned Conjure Queen. I still fuck with Conjure Queen. I watched the video that she had on this specific topic. You can go check her out as well, just so you can see, you know. But regardless, she did also mention how most of these videos come out at a certain time, and how, you know, most of these videos literally have the same kind of format to them. Regardless, just from my perspective of things, most of these people didn't actually believe in God when they came into spirituality, which I thought was pretty odd. Just because they kind of moved religions, they moved their perception to where God didn't exist. God became what the universe was. Or they just switched the word God with universe, and just put the definition of what God is in Christianity or any other belief really, and put it under the universe, which, I mean, in my head, I was kind of like, I was getting confused after a while of watching these videos. and seeing the pattern that most of these people just went straight into Satanism, like from Christianity to Satanism. And that it's kind of confusing on how they put this straight on to spirituality as a whole, being New Age spirituality is Satanism, just because of the comparisons that they got between what the Satanist religion or belief is and what they do. They compare it to the practices of the New Age spirituality belief and deem it to be the same thing and put it in a box and call it Satanism, when they totally left God behind when it came to switching their I'm not I want to keep having this as a point. I am not trying to judge anyone, but I am just saying from my personal perspective, when I came into spirituality, I never thought that the God that I worshiped and that I prayed to in Christianity was different from the God that brought me into spirituality. This was just my perspective when it came to my beliefs and me opening my mind and my third eye opening. That was just my perspective. But from what I can notice of these people on most of these videos named New Age to Jesus, they had these specific backgrounds. A lot of them had traumatic backgrounds. A lot of them had a lot of what I seen that was similar was that a lot of them had very traumatic backgrounds or childhood memories that they would go back and they would just go and talk very briefly about. Either they've witnessed divorce, or they had an abusive parent, or they were at some point addicted to drugs. All of these people blamed the fact that whatever they went through at that time is what pushed them into spirituality, because they became lost. And with that being said, it was just like, okay, now that you're here in front of the camera again saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm back on Jesus because of a bad experience that happened to me in spirituality. I seen demons and I got scared, and so I renounced all of that and came back to Jesus because I ain't messing with no demons. So you mean to tell me you had a bad experience, just like how you had before you got lost and came into spirituality? And so you just switched again. It just started not making sense to me. So what happens when you have another bad experience? You go back to spirituality? No, you stay within your religion. You can't keep switching. You can't keep going back and forth. You have to make a choice. At some point, you have to make a decision. So when I seen the similarities of what these people went through, I applied them, and I kind of tried to see within myself, how do I actually feel about what I'm doing? And I'm telling you, it was quite recently that I've experienced these things within myself, within my whole spiritual journey so far. I've questioned myself. And let me also mention and say something about what a spiritual journey is. Every human on this earth is going through a spiritual journey, whether you are aware of it or not. When we are first born into this world, we start our spiritual journey. It doesn't start just because you become aware of it. No, it's been started. Whatever happened in the past is affecting you now. So you have to, first of all, understand that. Okay? It is about the spiritual growth, the growth of your spirit, the growth, not just your physical growth or your mental growth or your emotional growth, but your spiritual growth as well. So when you first come to this earth, you are starting a spiritual journey. And I think that when we are young and we just become brought up and raised in a specific religion or a specific tradition, we're not actually taught to search for God on our own or to seek God on our own, then we are kind of forced to, we are kind of forced to just accept whatever is given to us because we are children and we don't really have too much of a choice. We don't feel like we do, at least. So when we are brought up and then now we have minds of our own, we are smart enough to make our own decisions and have our own common sense, we start to see, things don't really match up here. And so when we see these things are not matching up, we start searching, we start looking for other things, and we start trying to learn more about what God is, of who we are, really. I feel like that's when you're really searching for God, is when you're searching for yourself. You start soul searching. You start searching for God and searching for your answers on why you're here, who you are, what you're doing here, what made me. So I feel like when a lot of us, especially us empaths, which all of us are empaths, all of us have empathy, a certain level of empathy. But I feel like when we all start searching for who we are, and then we get caught up in a new belief, we get kind of eager and we get excited. And I definitely felt like I experienced this as well in my spiritual journey, where I started doing things and I started practicing things, and I started doing readings. I started using oracle cards and cartomancy cards. And then, of course, being brought up in a Christian household with Christian people around, you're going to be ridiculed. You're going to be judged. I went through it firsthand when I first started. And as you can see, I'm very nervous about this video just because I've had a hard time expressing my truth. And I've had a hard time really being true to who I was, just because of the simple fact I couldn't express myself in that way. And these problems, these traumas came up. And when they came up, I wanted to run from them. And you have to also mind, if you did come from a Christian family, your Christian family members are thinking about you. They're sending energy towards you. They're wondering, they're worried. They don't want you to be doing what you're doing. Remember, you are practicing Satanism. You are worshiping the devil. Why would they want you doing that? They are praying for you. They are sending you their words of it, what they think is encouragement towards you. So, as an empath, you're going to pick that up. You're going to think that it is your own thoughts. You're going to think that it is God telling you that what you're doing is wrong, that you're going to go to hell. You need to learn how to differentiate your own mind from other minds. Okay? Especially when you're in that environment. And I personally was in an environment where I was surrounded by Christians, or people that believed in God, or people that were just against my belief in general. And I was being judged left and right. And constantly, even when I went vegan, even when I started eating healthier and wanting to better myself, it almost seemed like everyone turned against me at that time. And really, honestly, I didn't want to just stop doing my YouTube channel because I started feeling guilty, and I would go back and just be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't want to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would do that every so often, and then I would just be like, well, what I'm gonna do with my channel, I guess I'll just leave it there, you know? And that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just leave it there or try something new. Of course, I could have, you know, came up here and did some makeup tutorial or whatever, or something else, but I didn't, this is not what my channel was for at all, originally, okay? And I did not want to switch up. It was for my spiritual growth. It was for the documentation of my spiritual growth and to be able to connect with people. I felt very lonely in my spirituality, and this is why I started my channel. And that's why I'm going to keep going with my videos on my channel. I had to learn how to trust myself. So when I see these videos that come up talking about how New Age spirituality is Satanism, it no longer affects me the way it used to. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel a need to change your beliefs, or if you feel a certain path you're being called to, that you shouldn't go towards it. No, I'm not saying that. We all have a spiritual journey. We all have our cycles that we go through. We are not meant to just do one straight and narrow thing at a time. God wants us to go through different experiences. And if God is wanting you to go through different spiritual experiences, then he's going to allow you to have this mental conflict, to have this inner conflict whenever it's needed. And you have to understand why you are having this conflict before you can make a decision. And people are unconsciously making a decision that is stifling their self, limiting themselves. And of course, everybody has their own ways of thinking about different beliefs and all that stuff. I'm not here to really sway you towards a certain direction. I'm just here to remind you to be open-minded and open-hearted to certain situations and have compassion. Because honestly, it's messed up when you have to go through certain things and you become so traumatized by these things that you can't even extend yourself and expand and go towards other things and try to learn new things and try to learn and seek God for yourself. It's disrespectful. It's rude. You wouldn't want nobody telling you that you're doing something wrong, right? When you feel like it's right, when you feel like God has been leading you towards it. And that's what I had to see, the difference between me and these people. The difference between me and anybody else. I don't care. My relationship with God is my relationship with God. Whatever it looks like. Whatever you want to call the name of the source, of the divine, is whatever it looks like to you. And it's nobody's business. Your spirituality is nobody else's business. And you shouldn't have to explain that to anybody. It's your spirit, for crying out loud. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit on the process of spirituality and the stages that you go through. I'm probably going to make a different video on this as well. I kind of just wanted to get that out there and vent a little bit just because it was one of the major things that I had to go through, just because I had to endure this experience of feeling very trapped and lonely in my spirituality and not knowing which way to go and not even making a decision. I want to stress the importance of actually making a decision on what your beliefs are going to be, who you are. Because if you never make a decision and never make a clear decision that best suits you, then it keeps you from growing. It keeps you from expanding. It keeps you in the same place. And if you think that you can just hop into spirituality on some sensational shit, just for the looks of it, just because it feels like it's good or it seemed like it's good. Veganism, yeah, all that, A+. That's A-okay. Know that there is such thing as shadow work. Know that there is such things as going within and seeing the deepest, darkest, ugliest parts of yourself, your demons. And if you're going to be a spiritual warrior, if you're going to be someone who calls himself a messenger of the divine, make sure you're ready for war. You can't be scared of no demons. You can't be scared of no little spirits. They can't touch you when you are of God, when you're God's child. It just mind-blowing to me. It's funny. I'm just speak how I'm gonna speak. I really wasn't being true to who I was. I was trying to be someone who was picture perfect spiritual, and I know this video is kind of all over the place, but when I first came into spirituality, I didn't, of course, realize the ups and downs that spirituality did actually have in it. And mind you, there's no such thing as religion without spirituality. I always found myself to be very connected with God, and I always had a relationship with God on my own. So for the fact that these videos really swayed my energy and moved me, I had to question, okay, first of all, I have to remember where I came from, and I have to remember that I have to actually learn myself so I can learn who God is. That got so serious. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm pretty much done with my little spiel on this topic. If you want to hear more, about anything that I've said in this video, comment down below, like this video. It'll really help and let me know that you want to see more from me. And I'll see you later. Bye.